Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, Price Your Worth, created to help independent professionals to work with clients worldwide. My name is Dr. Miguel Cerna. I'm a behavioral scientist, and I work extensively on organizational integration and cross-cultural cooperation. I recently became managing partner at Verbe, and it's through Verbe that we deliver Price Your Worth in a more extensive way. Today, I'm going to touch very quickly upon conceptual parts of business, a little bit on a strategy, and then going to the rationale to writing your pricing formula. Before continuing, I would like to thank PROFT 2023 for the opportunity to share this content with the colleagues in the language industry. So to get started, with the conceptual part of business. Concepts are important because they are the departing point of the narratives that leads to behavior. And in this case, we're talking about professional behavior. So price your words. In other words, that means what is the price of your value? And then if you want to answer this question, you kind of need to know what your value proposition is and what you are in the business world. Not who you are, but what you are. So that what is a concept. And a concept has a face. For example, freelancer or freelancing has a face that is different in the mind of different people. So within the professional world, I believe that the concept that should represent us is that of an independent professional, because we enter the market independently on our own to offer professional services or products done in a professional manner. So I will from now on speak of independent professionals. And again, so the concept of it defines also how people see us, and the perception determines the offer or whether or not they will accept our quotation, for example. So it is important to make it clear to our clients that we are professionals, and that what they are going to get is the result of a job work done professionally. Okay, we will see about being professional a little bit later in this presentation. So let's say that we decided to be an independent professional. We buy the concept and we use it. And now we're ready to step into the process of becoming an independent professional. Now, there are things that have to be clear before we really take that step, right? First and most important is, why do we want to be independent professionals? Are we there by will or by force? This is important because it will determine the efforts that we will take to become a successful independent professional. Another thing that is very, very important to be clear about is that as an independent professional, we will have to do many things alone. So we're going to work many hours alone as compared to the time that we will spend with other people. And this is important because many independent professionals that I met, they quit because they feel lonely. Now, when we accept that there will be a lot to do alone, when we accept that, we sort of create a mindset in which we are ready for that. So we need to develop the capacity to focus, for example, because when you are focused on something, you don't have time to feel lonely. So you will be alone, but not necessarily feeling lonely. And once we have this aspect very clear, it makes it easier for us to continue going. It's more difficult for us to give up and to feel worn out by the many things and the many hours that we spend alone. So independent professionals, we're clear about the things or the aspect that would influence our attitudes towards becoming an independent professional, right? Why, these hours alone, and some others. Now we can actually start thinking about how much are we going to charge for what we are going to offer into the market. And for this, kind of before we can set up a price, there are several things that should be clear. Among those things are, to what kind of product or services are we putting a price? And what is the scope? If it is a service, what is the scope of the service? It will definitely influence how much you're going to charge. We also need to be very clear about who is our customer. Is it a corporation? Is it an end user? Is it a higher economy? Is it a lower economy? Who is he or she? Who are they? This is important because it will also influence how much we can charge for what we offer. And also, we need to, at the very least, know who are we competing against or what are we competing against. New technologies has presented a challenge, a great challenge to the language industry in terms of pricing. It's making it easier for many potential customers to do it by themselves without the need to be hiring anybody of us. Also, because of technology or COVID-19, for example, many professionals, many very people very good at doing what they do ended off the job with no job, and so, or lost their companies. So that means that as independent professionals, we are now also competing against many other independent professionals that before used to work for certain companies. Right? So this is important because then we know what we need to prepare mentally, and then we know what we need to know through data so that we can actually put a price. Once we are clear about these things, sort of conceptual part of the business, then we're ready to start with the strategy. So see that this is a sequence of things. If you miss this step, you start with a strategy without knowing the conceptual part, that strategy will be faulty because it's not very well informed. To anybody who decides to go as an independent professional, my advice is to start with a principle of investment versus profit, and that is zero investment, 100% profit. Is this something possible to do? Well, it depends on how big you're starting, the kind of work that you are offering. Many factors will influence whether or not you can really start with zero investment. But this is a sort of mindset. If you set up your investment floor to zero and your profit ceiling to 100, that creates a mindset that will actually lead towards you taking the efforts to reach that zero and that 100. Okay, so in the process of you growing, you probably will need to invest in new knowledge or a new equipment or hiring an assistant and so on. But the process of growing, the process of getting stable as a business organization will lead to what kind of investments you will do. So, but to start, you have to think about zero investment, 100% profit. Now, one thing important about this is quality. In social media, and in the language industry, actually, I frequently hear or read, actually, people at different levels in the industry speaking of the clients get what they pay for when they refer to quality versus price. In that scenario, it's okay if we're talking about different companies, say company A and company B. Company A sells cheap and to low quality, and company B sells expensive to a very high quality. That it's okay. Two companies offering different kind of qualities for different kind of prices. But you, as an independent professional, can have only one quality, and that should be good. And that quality should be the same regardless of the price you're selling it for. If you charge $100 to a client A and $80 to client B, and for whatever reasons, the quality should be the same. Now, when you have to sell the same quality for a cheaper price, you need to consider that to be an investment. Now, for it to be an investment or to represent an investment, you need to very clearly know what you get against in exchange for that lower price that you are giving to a client. And so otherwise, it will be a cost. So an investment, it becomes an investment when it is clear what you gain for what you pay or for what you do not receive. Right? So that will be the mentality that will keep you working to deliver the same high quality. So again, same quality, regardless of the price. This is the very first part of your strategy. Then you need to have a model. I developed these business component models for independent professionals. And what it entitles, or what it includes, or what it tells us is that the person become the enterprise. The person become the business organization, the professional, and the partner. So an enterprise is a great undertaking that requires great effort. Now, making a living as an independent professional is a huge step. It will change your life for good and hopefully for the better. So it is an enterprise. As a business organization, you, this person, as a business organization, have to be organized as such, as if you have different departments and many people doing this for you. The difference being that you will be doing the job and you will be all the departments or many of those departments. And then you are the professional, right? So the person who has a specialized knowledge that recognizes the need for certain standards. These standards should match the standards of your clients. But most important than anything else, being a professional is an attitude of commitment beyond your personal gains. That is, you commit to your client, you commit to do something so that your client can reach his or her goals with the help of what you are providing. Right? So that's actually what makes you a professional, plus the fact that you take responsibility. And let's put it this way, the level of responsibility that you take is higher or wider. Okay? And also you become a partner because you will need to find support, encouragement from friends, life support from families, recommendations for clients, and you will also need complementary services that allow you to deliver a final better work. Okay, so as an independent professional, you become these four things at the very least, right? Within each of these sectors, I would say, there is a complexity of factors that play a role. So once this is done, once this business component model is clear and has written the content of each of its parts, then you're ready to have a canvas. And a canvas is important to have it because then you visually can remind of yourself of the value that you're offering and how efficient you can be based on the infrastructure that you have. So we are not going to get into every part of the canvas today, okay? So because it's too long, it's many hours working on this, on the specifics of your business, okay? But this is a sort of a template that you can use, right? So you have a model, your business model that we saw just now, and now you have the canvas in which you sort of make it clear for you how efficient you could be to deliver that value. So this canvas to modeling your business is based on your value proposition. And your value proposition is based on the kind of products or services that you offer, the kind of customers that you serve, and the infrastructure that you have. So you need to be clear first of what is the value that you're offering, and knowing that value, then you need to go into your customer segments, your revenue streams, your channels, and how are you going to serve your customers before, during, and after sales. This is very important. Once this is clear, then you go into how efficient you could be to deliver that value to those specific customers. And for that, you need to know what are your key resources, your key activities, your key partners, and how much does it cost you to do that. So remember that regardless of the size of business, an independent professional or a multi-billion organization, this canvas should exist because it is really the blueprint of how you deliver the value that you offer and what kind of value you are offering. Okay, so again, we will see only this about that because it's a little bit more complex. It takes too much time. But this done, the conceptual part, the strategy, now you're ready to start working on the pricing formula that will allow you to give quotations that are fair to you and to your clients. So pricing your worth could be a very difficult thing to do if we don't do the work at the background, right? So this is pretty much in the pitch. When you are selling, there is a moment in which people will say, how much does it cost me, right? So we're gonna use an example, or I'm gonna use the impact pricing formula as an example of the rationale to creating your pricing formula. So the impact pricing formula is a pricing formula that is based on the impact that the final product has on the intended audience. Now I'm testing this formula numerically, but I will be publishing this either in an economic or in a language industry-related journal. I really don't know when, but I hope it's going to be soon, but I will inform the industry so that you can actually have access to it and use it for your own benefit. But just as an example of a pricing model, right? So remember, what is that matters the most in the formula that you are creating, right? So if we read over this formula, that will be price equals the traditional determinant of price in the language industry, let's say, plus the impact categories plus the determinants of impact, right? So the traditional determinants of price are many. So this is not just a simple acronym. The impact categories, there is a huge research behind it. The determinants of impact, there is also many factors influencing this. I multiply this by the time that it takes me to do it and divide it by M, which refers to market can do. Okay, so remember, a formula is a simplification of the relationship that exists between all the factors that influence what the formula gives, in this case being price. So this is part of the background of the formula that I just showed you, right? Call it the pill model to service, which is composed by purpose, impact, and liability. Explaining this way, there is a source, the client that has a material. They create this material with a purpose, and then they give it to a service provider. Right? So the service providers modify that content and give it back to the source. The source send it to the market where it creates an impact. So impact is the key for the impact pricing model, right? So, but it's not just a simple punch. So it has, in this case, in the case of this model, this formula, it's a 6-factor structure. That structure influences the price, say, for example, factor 1 to factor 6, will influence the price. Say factor 1 is lowers the price, and factor 6 of the impact makes the price a little higher because the impact is higher, basically. And then it comes to liability, right? So I receive a content from my client, I modified it, the client sent it to the market, and there is an impact. That impact has a consequence, right? So liability is something that very seldom independent professionals discuss with their clients. How much of the responsibility we take as an independent professional in regards to the impact that we cause on that market, right? And that is also the sales tool, how this impact model can serve you as a sales tool. I'll explain in a second. So there is liability that goes to the source, and there is liability that goes to the service provider. Right? So, and this is how more or less you go finding out the elements that will matter for that final price. So the impact pricing model, some colleagues would say, is or could be a very useful sales tool. In the case of this formula, right, we sell the service a certain price based on impact. So we have two kinds of impact, right? So if we see here, we have the desired impact, and then we have the achieved impact. So here on the top of this model, we see the source, the localized contact, the impact factors considered, the impact categories considered, to understand or to decide what kind of impact we want to have on our audience, right? So the desired impact is a determinant of price. The achieved impact is a determinant of retention. In business terms, we want to retain. We don't want to have a new customer all the time. It's not cost effective. So we need to help our clients to achieve that impact so that they continue to work with us and also to recommend us. But anyway, so before we can see what is the impact that we achieved, we have to know the desired impact, which is the determinant of price. And this determinant of price is based on the function or the role that the client, a translator, for example, and the managing organization of the project play to reach that impact, which we will know until everything is done, right? So until the advertisement goes to that specific market and we see how the market reacts, is that we know it. But anyway, so first we need to put a price. So for that, we want to understand what is the intended impact for the client. We need to understand what the translator, for example, what is the level of responsibility, the difficulty of work, and we also need to know complexity, liability, technological needs, and so on of the managing organization here called LSP. Okay. These three players, and the role that they play in creating that impact or trying to deliver a final product for the desired impact, lead to the impact score, and that impact score leads to the pricing formula. Okay, so as you can see, you can make it very easy to make a pricing formula that is generic. But when you want it to be specific, for example, if you're selling experience, how do you justify that as in a numeric way that follows a certain logic that leads to creating that pricing formula? Right? So here is again the impact pricing formula. So again, so I'm testing it numerically, following up on the research. The paper is going to be published at some point, most probably next year. And I hope that this is going to help many independent professionals to really get prices fair for them and for the clients. But you, depending on the kind of job that you do, the kind of products and services, you have to decide what goes here, right? So this P is going to be the same, but this could be only time, this could be scope, this could be cost per project, this could be experience, complexity, name it. Whatever elements, whatever factors affect or directly affect the pricing, depending on what you're selling, right? In this case, I am selling a service that will help my customer to achieve the impact they want upon their audiences, right? But whatever factors you include in this formula here, you always need to take the market can do as an important element in there, moderating that final price. Because I can come up before this M, I can come up with 100 words, 100 euros per word, but the market is not going to pay for that. So it's useless to come to a market offering that. Of course, if we did the whole previous work that we had to do, then we wouldn't have this problem. But anyway, so the market can do is a very important factor moderating the final price. So the logic to writing your pricing formula is start with what is the main factor that you want to sell. And then you include all the other factors that would influence allowing you to achieve that final work. And then you set up the formula. So everything that we have seen here is very, very general, and I hope that it opens your eyes towards the necessity to work in a certain organized ways towards pricing, because price defines whether or not people is going to buy from you. But how you will present yourself or your product will also define how they will accept or not this price. So it's things that you have to do first so that you can do the other accordingly, and that you reach a price that is acceptable. So price your words, as I was saying, is a full course that includes different aspects of the pricing strategy or the pricing formula. We start with understanding the new reality of being an entrepreneur and what does it entitles. Then we go into the strategy that includes modeling your business, the monetization model, some other aspects. I mean, every of these 8 points, bullet points, are a complex in within, so are a class. And then we move to the selling part of you as an entrepreneur, as a business organization. And we touch upon the psychology of pricing strategies that would allow us to finally go to pricing formula. So again, in this course, we take your specific case, right? It's not generic, it's specific. As we go from point 1 to point 8, you go drawing the reality of your business and the strategy for your specific business, pricing formula for your business and for your intentions, right? The whole course ends with self-promotion, upskilling, stabilization, and growth, if growth is going to be part of your strategy at some point of doing business. So would you be interested in knowing more about this? Please contact us. So I will leave it like that. Once again, to thank PROFT 2023 for the opportunity. If you have any questions, comments, you're interested in knowing more about price your worth, you can write to me directly to miguel.cerna@verbetranslations.com. Please do me the favor to put me on the CC as cernasrp@gmail.com. This is because we are making some changes on the website and we may fail to have received your emails. But anyway, so you could still use Verbet Translations. To know more about what we do, you can scan the QR code that is on the slide, or just copy that URL to the browser and you will see who we are what we do. So I'm very happy and very grateful for the opportunity to share this with you. I really hope that I've been able to shed some light on the importance to follow a certain methodology towards getting your prices right so that it is fair to you and to your clients. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you soon.